Hey everyone, I hope you're doing well and staying safe during this time. If you're new here, welcome to the channel. Like I said, thank you so much for checking me out. If you haven't done so, please make sure to hit that subscribe button just right below the video. Cool, thank you so much. I really do appreciate it. And if you're returning, welcome back. Thanks again for your support. I truly do appreciate having you here.
Hello, this is Matt on the Moon Lambo channel. In my very last video, I reported that there's an attorney within the XRP community named Fred Rispoli who has filed a class action lawsuit, a $42 billion class action lawsuit against former SEC Chair Jay Clayton and former SEC Director Bill Hinman. And I went through all the specifics. There's a 25-page document filed. I broke that down and I shared initial comments from the attorney that filed it. So I won't be going through the specifics of that. Just check out my very last video if you're interested in that information. This video can stand on its own, though, so if you're not aware of that, frankly, if you want to go back and watch the other video later, feel free. It's okay if you watch this first. I'm going to make sure you know the little bits that you absolutely have to know, and then if you want all of the very interesting details, and there are quite a few, then yes, check out the last video, which was like 37 minutes long. So hopefully this one's a bit short, actually. But Attorney John Deaton, in this video, I'm going to share with you what he had to say in response to this being filed. But I will tell you, Mr. Deaton has shared his comments and concerns surrounding this class action lawsuit. He's expressed that he's concerned that the lawsuit won't be taken seriously and that the judge might even throw out the entire case from the get-go, effectively. So I'm going to share with you his thoughtful perspective, and then I'm going to share with you some comments from Fred Rispoli, because he typed up a new thread after initial feedback from the XRP community on this. And the lawsuit, it's very interesting because, again, it's specifically going after Clayton and Hinman, not specifically the SEC. And this is effectively what so many of you in the community have been calling and hoping for. Now, we'll see if it gets traction. There is no guarantee. And you see what John Deaton has to say. You can form your own opinions there. But I tell you what, I'll just say this. I am thankful for our community and happy that people out there are trying to do stuff. So I'm just here to share the information. You guys, I'm going to share with you the information, perspective from Attorney John Deaton, perspective from Attorney Fred Rispoli, who filed this class action lawsuit, and you can make your own decision, come to your own conclusion as to whether or not this is helpful or it's harmful, or maybe things could be adjusted to make things better. And by the way, Attorney Rispoli has made clear he's going to be tweaking this thing. And I'll explain a bit about that as we go through. But before going any further, I do want to be clear, I do not have a legal or financial background of any kind. I am not offering legal or financial advice, and you definitely should not buy or sell anything because of anything that I say or write. I'm just an enthusiast who enjoys making YouTube videos about crypto-related topics, but just as a hobby and just for fun. Now you can see on your screen right now that Attorney Deaton retweeted a tweet from Eleanor Turret, who is a journalist at Fox Business Network. Eleanor wrote the following earlier today. A class action lawsuit has been filed against former SEC Chair Jay Clayton and his former Director of Corporation Finance, Bill Hinman, for tortious interference in all XRP Ledger network users' valid business expectancy in the XRPL network. And she also went on to note that she has reached out to both Clayton and Hinman for a response to this. To my knowledge, she hasn't gotten anything back yet. I don't know if she will. Or if she gets anything, it's going to be a no comment. Maybe that. I'd be surprised, because they don't like to address this type of stuff. That's very clear. We'll see, though. And so Attorney Deaton retweeted that from Eleanor, And then he shared his thoughts, and he wrote the following. And again, keep in mind, as I go through this again, this is a $42 billion class action lawsuit. John says, I have many direct messages about the putative class action filed in Arizona. Here are my honest thoughts. I was the first person to publicly raise the conflicts of interest and gross appearances of impropriety related to Clayton and Hinman. One of the alternative motives I raised in the writ of mandamus, filed only 9 days after the Ripple lawsuit, was about Clayton's personal gain. Immediately after the case against XRP was filed, I wrote the lawsuit appeared to be used as a weapon. And if I could just pause to note that even that early on, without all the specifics, John Deaton's gut was absolutely spot on. Look at all the stuff that we've uncovered. There's a lot there, obviously. What are the motives? I mean, fine, we can't get in the hearts and minds of these guys, but we've uncovered so much appearances of impropriety, actual monetary benefits that only make sense if you understand the full context of everything that's going on. It's amazing. And he cited that early on that's what he thought. And so it's interesting. And so now that he's saying that he's concerned that this lawsuit, he's actually concerned, by the way, that this could hurt the SEC versus Ripple case. And Fred doesn't think so, and I'll explain why after I get through John Deaton's thread. But John has expressed concern that this $42 billion class action lawsuit could actually harm Ripple and XRP holders. Anyway, let's continue with his thoughts, and we'll break it down. One of the alternative motives I raised in the writ of mandamus filed... I'm sorry, that's the one I just read. My bad, I scrolled and I lost my spot. Moving on. Many of you may recall I wrote the Ethereum Free Pass memo and the original Undisputed Facts timeline that has 6 million impressions. And he's not kidding here. Look at this. Here are the Twitter metrics. 6 million impressions from this thread. I remember covering that originally back in October. That's incredible. 6 million people have seen that. Anyway, John continues. In other words, I fully understand the sentiment and frustration that people have regarding Clayton, Hinman, and lawsuit against XRP. I also know that we live in an age where people want results today. I need to make clear that I had nothing to do with filing the Arizona case action against Clayton versus Clayton and Hinman. People have asked me about pursuing them and the SEC for damages. I've maintained that you cannot rush a case where there are issues of sovereign and qualified immunity. I've communicated that once you file a case either against them personally or against the SEC itself, there will be motions to dismiss based on multiple grounds. Rule 12b6 motions, which is failure to state a claim, also motions to dismiss based on qualified immunity, etc. When going after a government employee in their personal capacity, it is best to have as much evidence as possible to demonstrate to the court that these government actors were acting outside the scope of their employment. Now, many of you believe that this has already been proven, and I understand why. Some unbiased people, however, like Charles Gasparino and Eleanor Terrett, pause note, both with Fox Business Network, may admit that it looks bad, but are not convinced there's been actual wrongdoing or criminal laws violated. Fred Rispoli, so that's the attorney that filed this class action lawsuit, Fred Rispoli filed the case against Clayton and Hinman. If Fred knows the judge presiding over this case, and he is extremely confident that the judge will deny the initial motions and grant Fred the ability to engage in liberal discovery, then it could prove to be a good move. Notice how the complaint makes reference for the need to engage in discovery. It reads as follows, quote, plaintiff believes substantial evidentiary support will exist for and further support the allegations set forth herein after a reasonable opportunity for discovery, end quote. And so what he's pointing out here is that Fred, who filed this class action lawsuit, is saying if we can get into discovery, get the facts out there, it will further support what we're stating. And John Deaton points out in this next comment, he's concerned as to whether or not that's actually going to be allowed, though. And John writes the following. The problem is, if the judge doesn't allow Fred to subpoena third parties or get emails, etc., the case could get thrown out quickly. Look how hard it is for Ripple to get discovery, and Ripple was actually sued. Fred's plaintiff wasn't actually sued. The problem for XRP holders is that if this case isn't taken seriously and thrown out, what if a judge writes something like, the claims against Clayton and Hinman are totally without merit? Imagine that. I bet CNBC will finally report on it, and Clayton and Hinman will be happy. Now, why wouldn't this case be taken seriously? Unfortunately, it is written in a manner that attempts to entertain, calling Clayton Homer and Hinman Willie has a cartoonish ring to it. But maybe Fred knows the judge and he or she will be receptive. So I'm going to pause to note right here what he's talking about for those that didn't see the last video or haven't seen the latest news on this. This is the original version of Fred Rispoli's class action lawsuit against Clayton and Hinman. I only need to read the top part so that you can see what I'm talking about. Actually, I don't even need to read it. It's on your screen if you want to read it, if you want to pause and take a look. He's calling Jay Clayton Homer, and he's calling Bill Hinman Willie. And those are the names that he calls them throughout the entire document. And I did mention, and nothing against Fred whatsoever. In fact, I appreciate the attempt, just to be super duper clear. I don't want this to come across wrong. Nothing against anybody. I'm just reporting on what's being here because, that's what I do. This is an XRP-centric YouTube channel. I cover what's going on here. This is what's going on here. But I was honest in my last video when I mentioned, upon reading that, I wasn't sure if this entire thing was a joke or not, because I thought, no way, somebody's going to call them Homer and Willie in an official class action lawsuit. I was like, come on. And so I wasn't really sure, but then I was like, well, it did come from Fred, though, and I've covered some stuff from him on my channel before, and he seems to be a thoughtful individual. And so I went to double check, and sure enough, that it is indeed real. This is a very genuine lawsuit that has actually been filed here. So anyway, that's what Attorney Deaton was talking about there. And I'll also mention, and I'm going to get into the specifics, but Fred Rispoli actually got feedback from the community and decided that he's going to adjust this, and he's going to pull out those names so that it reads more seriously. So it'll be...
I'm your guy. I will keep you posted. I'm your advocate. I'll be back on a daily basis, usually multiple times per day, with these videos to keep you updated with everything going on. So I hope you enjoyed the video. If you haven't done so, make sure to hit that subscribe button. Feel free to share any of my videos with your friends, family, social media, or anybody who may care to listen. Thanks so much for your continued support. I'm always here for you. I want to help you through this time. So thank you so much for continuing to choose me. Enjoy your day, stay safe, and I'll catch you again probably in a couple hours. Thanks, everybody. See you later.